That is not my thing. That's where, you know, it's like I want to give. The more you give, the more you put it out there where you're just sort of a magnet for the energy that you want. So any comment you can leave that you want, and I do get really aggravated because I sometimes leave comments on people's things and they sort of are in this position where they're like, I don't want anybody saying anything negative to me. You know, I've been blocked from Met Monarch's thing because I have put less than positive stuff up there. I've noticed people, especially one of my pet peeves right now that I'm really going to go off on is this whole new idea of futarianism, be it, call it the hygiene diet at the turn of the century with, I forget the guy's title of his book, Arnold Eberhart or whatever. The whole hygiene movement, the futarian thing, was proposed in Viktoras Kolvinska's book, Survival in the 21st Century. That book was not only about futarianism, but it was a big section of that book. And then, of course, the whole 80-10-10 thing, which is a new thing. And I will, one thing I am going to start doing on these, because I was at Longevity Now, and I was working at the tonic bar, and met a lot of really cool people, and a lot of people recognized me, talked to me, and a few people did say like that I worry too much about pissing people off, and I do realize it doesn't make any difference if I piss people off because I'm not trying to sell anything, and so it's not gonna, I just want to get the information out there and say, hey, be leery of this. And there is a few fruitarians that are blogging on YouTube that are acting like this is a new thing. Fruitarianism is not a new thing. It's failed. It's failed with me. I was a fruitarian as I got out of survival in the 21st century. For about 10 years I was a fruitarian, and at age 37, 38, I think more like 39, my health really started failing. Not from the way I look kind of thing, but with the hormones, the endocrine system, definitely. And I didn't really realize a lot of the changes that happened until you know, I started replacing a lot of those things. But I will tell you one thing that was very much in my face was at 39 I lost the ability to get an erection, and I'm pretty functional now, but all I can say is you know, the fats and all that stuff is what keeps your hormone system going. And there's two things that really get a bad rap in the raw food world, and that is protein and fats. And then there's another subject, and that's organic produce, that is very wrong thinking of a lot of raw foodists. And I have turned into kind of a supplementarian, and I do base this on the fact that a bit of sort of logical wisdom that I learned, that is that organic produce doesn't mean really anything except that the food doesn't have what it shouldn't have in it anyways. I don't know if you got me on that. Organic doesn't mean anything really except that that food does not have in it what it shouldn't have in it anyways. So if that organic produce is grown in depleted topsoils or what have you, it's mineral deficient. That's all there is to it. And a lot of people were hitting me up through this year of me becoming a supplementarian and say, oh, why don't you just get that from food or whatever. And I will tell you, I did a major like revival of myself. I was spending a lot of money on experimentation, seeing what works, listening to truth a lot and seeing the results. And major two things that I started was mineralization, and I'm gonna do a specific blog on that. Taking amino acids. Protein really gets a bad rap with the raw food world because somebody had proposed the idea that we take too much protein, which may be true on a big scale, but the things that we don't get are some of those. I'm taking a lot of amino acids, and I went through a long period. They're kind of less now, but I was taking about 20 different amino acids, and I really went through a very drastic metamorphosis to a sort of youthing or a regeneration. You might look back from some of my blogs, my face was, I kind of had that typical sunken look. And I do want to point out something in this rambling is that getting and listening to advice and looking at somebody and saying they look good who is sort of 30-something, you need to look at old people who are older. And I'm not trying to say that people that are in their 20s or 30s are wrong, but just in terms of a radical lifestyle, I will tell you that is, you need to go past 40 to see what the results are going to be, because I did do a bit of research to realize that the human expectancy, other than lifetime, the range of age that we live, other than in Asia, has generally been 40 years old. And a lot of more indigenous tribes, by indigenous that means original people, we're only living to 37. So we're kind of in a new thing where, and my thinking on that is that we have everything that we need generally if you come from a good breeding stock. And so the reason, like being 30, I'll tell you right now, when I was 30, 31, and I'll maybe try to find a picture of myself, I still got carded at 30, 31. So I believe that we have a lot of the stuff we need in us to live what used to be human lifetime expectancy, which was 40-ish years. So that's why when people turn 45, that's really when things start going down. Depletion starts happening. And so, you know, the supplementing is the deal, because you've got to eat food. Where the raw food world has gone right now, the whole, like, what people are doing is really far off from the people who are having success with it, which was a lot of people in the 70s, which is Ann Wigmore for one, and a lot of other people, and sprouting things was a really big part of that. People who are having success with raw food diet in terms of longevity, like Gabriel Cousin's place and Hippocrates, still do a lot of sprouting. And I will tell you that the raw food movement is very commercial. And people that have stuff to sell are not going to be telling you about, because you can't package and sell sprouts unless they're dehydrated, and then they're devoid of life force. So the raw food thing as it's going right now is very commercial, and that's why I do want to be on here, and I do want to start calling out people where it's kind of short-sighted. It's a big commercial kind of, I don't want to call it a scam, but it doesn't have a completeness to it, a wideness. A lot of people are sort of conveniently saying, oh, these superfood powders, but sprouting is real important, and people are like, oh, I don't have time to sprout or whatever. And I'll tell you that's bullshit, because I worked in my heyday of being a construction project manager, of running huge jobs, being at work for 12, 15 hours a day before I returned home. I sprouted all the time. I did my stuff in the morning before I left, and I did it at night when I returned home. So that's just an excuse if you think you can't sprout. So here I am back, and I think that's going to be kind of it for now. And I am going to start addressing some specific subjects. Number one on the next is going to be supplements and truth. I don't know if I've heard this. He was the first one I heard saying that, but I have become a supplementarian. Anyways, that's Keith out for now, and you'll be hearing from me again quite a lot later on.